this is real. Will you watch over them? Will you raise them up to be strong? I'm just a man with flesh. This is what you call for in your scriptures. You said they wore studs and fringes, they got it on. You said they will follow the law, they doing it. You said under your house shine, they ought to love one another. And they doing it.
We're in front of the Israeli School, Universal Practical Knowledge, the Philadelphia Division, here at 3226 Cheltenham Avenue in Philadelphia. We're standing in front of the school right now, getting a description of the 12 tribe sign that's been painted by one of the brothers that was in the school: Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. Those are the 12 tribes of Israel.
Shalom. Shalom. You've been waiting for this day, so this day has finally come. A lot of you have been wondering where this knowledge that you've been hearing is coming from, and the powerful truth that you've been hearing, how this was established. Well, we finally were able to arrange for the priests to come down from New York and spend some time with us. And I'd like to introduce them if I can. These are some great brothers. We're very glad to have them with us. We want to make them feel as warm as possible, because this is their work and the extension of their work and what they've laid down some time ago. I'd like to introduce, first of all, priest and Sixth Shield General, 4th in command in the nation of Israel, Lahab. I'd like to salute this brother. Macho! Barak! Yeshabim, which means sit. And I'm going to turn it over now to Priest General Lahab.
Water, brother. I'd like to say this, starting off, we're very impressed at your school here, and we're very impressed to see that the brothers and sisters in Philadelphia think enough of the Most High and the Bible and the truth and your nationality to be a part of this, because most of the brothers and sisters are running from the truth.
Welcome to ISUPK Detroit. Check us out on all social media platforms. Classes are Monday through Saturday. Monday is the history class from 7 to 9 p.m. Tuesday is scripture breakdown. Wednesday is biblical law class. Friday, Lashawan Kodash, Hebrew language. Saturday, the Sabbath service. Check out our community service program. We have food and clothing drives, helping the people in need. And we also have felony expungement services available. Join us and get involved.
ironic.
You know the truth is the truth, that's all I know. Cry loud and spare not, you gon' get exposed. A few real niggas left, you not one of those. Real soldiers, we was born to stand 10 toes. If he ain't one West, that nigga not one of mine. He got a purple 12, me, I got a black 9. The truth is the wife of my youth, chopper my concubine. Had to die to get my rib, that bitch forever mine. You know the game, a bishop gotta be blameless. But GMS teaching niggas to be rapists. They screaming we snitch. When Jordan Morgan was killed by your brother, y'all ain't say shit. Real prophets only dwell in the UPK, PSA, we don't sign NDAs. Real prophets only dwell in the UPK, PSA, we don't sign NDAs.
Hey, 100 deep, 100 shields on, that's 100 priests. 100 boots, that's 200 feet. Tongue like a sword when I fucking speak. Teach you how to fish instead of fucking leech. Stop selling drugs instead of trying to fuck with me. Knowledgeable but I'm rude in my fucking speech. Life is about warfare, not no fucking peace. Hey bitch, I cry loud when I fucking speak. Make them wait a year before they fuck with me. Turn a street nigga to a fucking priest. Cross a priest and I promise you forever sleep.
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. That's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, niggas? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, niggas?
UPK soldiers got them killers with me. And I don't fuck with every spot cause it's too iffy. Real motherfucking prophet cause the Lord with me. But don't get that shit twisted, I got Drake's with me. Yeah, bitch, and that whole 50. Run up on me wrong, you gon' catch 60. Wait, you gon' catch 20. The other 30 for your homies, bitch, I got plenty. And I'll shoot this motherfucker till that clip empty. Taking orders from your bitch, you a fucking simpy. Shit, should be televised. The way I'm cutting niggas up, bitch, I'm a samurai. Niggas swear they in the truth, but telling hella lies. Stumping like you Greek, bitch, you Hellenized. The revolution gon' be televised. And what I see in my vision gon' leave you petrified.
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. That's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, niggas? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, niggas? UPK soldiers lead cowards and awe. So fuck a gas stop, I came with 6 pumps in my car. My niggas ready to swing, we like kids at the park. So touch a chair around this bitch and we breaking your jaw. They think we Christian, but we not. Nothing about us is soft. I don't know what you niggas on, but that shit get you off. We booted up. We came to take zones for real. Black 40 under my garment, I be dressed to kill. 4th dimension sitting linger, I be fresh for real. Putting scripts on your corners, but these here ain't pills. We rock covers. You official if you know those drills. Bread and water, you official if you know those meals. Yeah, you niggas soldiers get rolled over. You got police in your pocket, I got a judge in my holster. Oppressors out to get us, so remain sober. Or be chained to them chains till there's nothing that remains of us. A cult leader like Christ, we got the same culture. I bang on them, tell my enemies the reign's over. I up the sig and keep pulling like a chain smoker. The game ain't changed, One West stayed the same on them. One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. That's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, niggas? One West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, niggas?
Niggas talking prophets, yeah, we got plenty. We the reason why it's Israelites around the city. Call Kazak, tells the rock, bring Shamara. We about to slide on them, see what niggas talking about. Young dog think he wise cause he a Kemet head. That shit lame, they didn't survive, nigga, Kim is dead. Where I'm from, little nigga, is a dirty game. I pledge allegiance to Yahweh, bitch, I'm UPK. Nigga, let's talk bodies. Set up on your corner, wake up everybody. Big priest, until I'm dead deceased. The mission is complete until you're off the street. So y'all on the internet, stumping down the street. But take the poor and the weak. Touch your sister or brother, you gonna be sleep. But take the poor and the weak.
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West. So who is y'all, nigga? One West. one West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West, one West. That's who we are, nigga. One West, one West. So who is y'all, niggas? One West, one West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga?
Fucking with the brothers, then I'm giving out major pain. Clip full of ball heads, I'm shooting out Damon Wayne's. Driven ambition, I ain't never changing lanes. Wise as an old man, but I ain't slanging cane. This ain't a game, this shit way deeper than rap. You speaking the cap, but the shit y'all speaking is cap. I'm 5,000, but I still keep it a stack. I'm in the truth, not cause back then I was seeking the fact. Crying loud for the niggas that's deep in the back. And the Lord with me, ain't no reason for keeping the strap. We peep the attacks, niggas say we ain't speaking the facts. Stealing breakdowns every time we teaching in class. Niggas snitching, y'all out here squeaking with rats. We be on the street corners teaching that Jesus is black.
We on 125th Street, Harlem, nigga, you see where we at?
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West, so who is y'all, nigga? One West, we want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West, so who is y'all, niggas? One West, we want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga.
Test. There we go. If I know if I can hear me, you can hear me. Israel. Here we go again. Another Monday night in the world of ISUPK. Let's get it started off right. We are the ISUPK, Israelite School and Universal Practical Knowledge. Started in 1969 at 125th Street, New York, Harlem, New York, 1 West, under Commanding General Yohana. And what we do is we teach our people, and when I say our people, I only mean Blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics, who they are according to this Bible, according to the true word of the Most High God. If you're not in the ISUPK, you're not in the truth. So if you're in one of those fake Israelite groups that's doing some of the fake Israelite stuff, you're not in the truth. Understand this. There's only one truth, right? There's only one truth. And if you were to go out and tell a story, and when you tell this story, you say, okay, cool, it was a blue car at a red house, right? And if that's the truth, it was a blue car at a red house and it was 2 children standing outside. If somebody else come around and say, well, you know, the car was, green and the house was pink and it was 2 kids and a dog outside. Them 2 stories don't add up. Them 2 stories don't line up. Some of the details match up, right? Some of the details match up. With some of the details matching up, that doesn't make that true. What it make is how can I say this? Well, it is an expansion, right? You're either adding to or taking away from the truth. And we all know that the Bible says if you add to or take away from this scripture, these words of the prophets, this prophecy, matter of fact, we'll get it in Revelations, right? Because we're gonna understand the truth, right? You got a bunch of fake Israelite camps. You got a bunch of folk that follow Christianity, right? You got a bunch of folk that do a bunch of different things and they want to say they in the truth. And the Bible tells you what the truth is, right? If we do it here in the ISUPK, you should do it. If we do it here in the ISUPK, you should do it. That's all I can tell you. You see the generals doing it, do it, right? You see these captains and these captains and 13,000 and the captains of 10,000. You see them doing something, then you should do it, because then you know that they in this ISUPK, they are in the truth, right? Let's see. This is Revelation chapter 23 and 22 and 18. It says, for I testify unto every man that heareth the word of the prophecies of this book, right? So testify or understand John the Revelator wrote the Revelations. This was his vision, the vision that he had when he was in the Isle of Patmos, right? This is the vision he had when he was locked up, right? When he was incarcerated, right? So when him being locked up, incarcerated, understand you got brothers that was locked up, incarcerated. You know, even Jesus had a warrant out for his arrest, right? You got to notice that we are following the truth. And right here it says, for I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. Look how heavy that is. He said, if any man shall add unto these, the things that are, hold on, I'm gonna get it correctly for you. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add, the Most High God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. Think about the plagues that are written in this book. You black man, Native American man, Hispanic man. Think about the plagues that's going on in your neighborhoods, plagues that's going on in your household, your communities. You know, child support. You know, that's a plague. These things are destroying you, right? Look what's going on. Is that you know, you can't go into your own city without the police beating you across your head, knocking you to the ground, right? And if they don't unalive you, they beat the hell out of you and then figure out you're an innocent man. That's a plague, right? That plague was in Leviticus. Was it chapter 4 and 17 verse through 19, saying you can't go to and fro in your own streets. I'm paraphrasing, right? So you can't go in your own streets because what? The police is going to beat your head in, right? So look at this. It says that's what happened if you add to. Look what the other plagues that happened to you, right? You don't have your own land, right? It's your children will be taken from you, and these are the plagues and the curses that are inside Deuteronomy. Your children will be taken from you. No man should buy you, meaning no man should be able to save you. No man can get you out of this hell that you are in, right? Then look at the plagues that the Egyptians suffered, right? Think about the plagues. The water was turned to blood, right? These are the plagues that are in this book that could go upon you if you choose to add to the words of this book. And if you add to the words that are in this book of the prophecies, then these plagues will be added unto you. Verse 19 says, and if any man shall take away from the words of this book, right? Salaki, let me say that right. If any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. So understand is that your pastors out here teaching prosperity, right? They teaching prosperity up to this day. Even though we see World War III coming, we know that the Bible prophesies that Yahweh Shah Mashiach, or Jesus Christ, which is known to the Americans, shall return during World War III. And what Christ, when Yahweh shall return and during World War III, guess what happens? That means that all these nations are going to be fighting against each other. That's what World War III. You remember World War I, all the nations were fighting against each other. You remember World War II, all the nations were fighting against each other. Understand that during World War III, all the nations will be fighting against each other. Christ is going to return. Christ will return. And the reason why I say Christ will return is because this book says it, right? This book says it. It's over 2,500 prophecies that are written in this book, right? In this book of the prophecies. And according to modern day man, over 2,000 of the prophecies that are written in this book have been fulfilled, right? And with over 2,000 of these prophecies being fulfilled, and this over 2,500, I don't know the exact number. I'm just throwing the numbers out there. But with these prophecies being fulfilled, this is the only book that is accurate with the prophecies. This is the most accurate book with the prophecies ever. How can you not believe it? How can you not understand what's going on with it? I'm gonna tell you why you don't believe it. I'm gonna tell you exactly why you don't believe it. You don't believe this book. And before I get into, when I get into you not believing this book, I'm gonna go back into that last scripture. I'm reading 2 scriptures over. Shariwan, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, what's going on? Yabashima Shabrakta.
Yabashima Yashabrakta, right? Before we continue, Israel, I almost forget. Let me salute my brothers and sisters. To my brothers, Yahweh Shem Yashabrakta. To my sisters, Yahweh Shamar Latah Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Good morning, Israel. Right? Understand, it's a new day for us. It's time for us to come into the truth. It's time to wake up. It's time, look, understand. I know you've been asleep. It's time to stretch up. Shake it off. And then what the song say, let's say, shake it off. Right. It's time to shake it off. Look, we got to wake up. We got to wake up. Like I said, if you ain't in UPK, you ain't in the truth, right? And I'm going to spit something, sir. I was talking about Revelations 18 and 19, no, 22, for chapter 22, verses 18 and 19, right? 22. Because what I'm gonna do is, what I did was I showed, and 18 says what happens if you take away from the prophecies in this book, right? Okay. You take away from this book. And then 19, which I'm going to read now, speaks about if you add to this book, right? And the reason why I'm bringing that up, because I'm gonna go to certain people. The name of this class is "You Were Sold Unto Your Enemies." Mm-hmm. Your enemies are taken away and adding unto this book, right? They're taking away certain parts of the book and adding unto the book. I can prove it. Why we have to read the 1611 Bible, right? Why we got to read the 1611 King James Version? Why does, if you go get a King James version of the Bible, why does it only have 66 chapters in it? Right? Why is the Apocrypha not in there? So somebody has taken away from this book. God, right?
That's heavy.
The Bible says in verse 18, "For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book." That's 18. Verse 19. "And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book." Right? So your enemy has taken away things in this book. Your enemy Israel. I'm only talking to us. So anybody else that want to chime in, I'm only talking to blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics. You can listen in if you want to, but you're gonna get your damn feelings hurt, and we don't care. I don't care about your little feelings. Go in the corner, cry, pout, not, pee in your pants. I don't care. Do something like that, right? I don't care. If you are not black, Native American, or Hispanics, the best way that you can help us is reach deeply. Reach deep. I'm gonna tell you how you can help the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. I'm gonna tell you how you can help Commanding General Yohana get this word out to his people. I'm gonna tell you how you can help, right? Because I know you want to help. Because if you wouldn't be a good-hearted Christian
if you didn't want to help. Am I right, sir? You couldn't be a good-hearted Christian if you didn't want to help. So if you're not Black, Native American, Hispanic, I'm gonna tell you how to help, right? This is what you're gonna do. What you're gonna do is you're gonna reach deeply into your pockets, reach deeply into your bank account, your 401k, your retirement savings. Take all that out of there and give it to Commander General Yohana so he can help Blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics. So he can help these people because he knows exactly what to do. Whatever fund, look, sell your business. Whatever business you get, if you outside of this Black, Native American, Hispanic, if you outside the children of Israel, sell your business. And after you sell your business, give all that money to Commanding General Yohana, right? Go to him with the millions that you get, with the billions that you get, with the trillions that you get, and give it to him. And watch how helpful you become to the true nation of Israel. Watch how helpful you become. You're going to help Commander General Yohana do so much in this with his people. You're going to see our people. You'll see our people. You'll see our people turn around overnight because y'all gave y'all money. I promise you. Because you gave your money, right? Because you reached deep, right? Because you gave that money to Commander General Yohana. Guess what happens? You're going to start to see the hood come up, right? You're going to start to see the schools come up. You're going to start to see us eating better foods. You're going to see us get better medicine, better treatment. We're going to live longer, right? Our people are going to be healthier. And it's going to be because you reached into your pocketbook and gave to Commander General Yohana. If you're not a part of this nation, we got food drives. We're doing food drives ourselves. We just did a food drive last week. Guess what? How much more of a food drive we could have done if you'd have gave your 401k to Commander General Yohana. Right? So if you're not a part of this nation and you want to help and you truly desire in your heart to help. Now, if you truly in your heart desire to help Commander General Yohana with this nation, give that money. If not, you're just a hypocrite. You're just saying you want to help and you don't. Right? So understand is that what we were talking about, if you add to the words that are given, add to the words of this book, if you take away from the words that are in this book, right? Either you add to, you're going to be plagued. All the plagues that are in this book is going to be added unto you. Right? Think about the plagues. You see the curses that's in Deuteronomy 28. You see the curses and the plagues that hit the Egyptians when Pharaoh wouldn't allow his people to. Pharaoh wouldn't allow God's people to go when Moses came. Right? So understand that's just a drop in the bucket of what's going to happen to your Christian pastor. Right? Because think about your Christian pastor is the one that is so-called teaching you this book. He's advocating the words that are taken out of this book. I can prove it. Think about this. The Christian pastor say the law is done away with. Been saying the law is done away with. Has always said the law is done away with. Right? But make sure you pay your tithes. You have to tithe. You have to tithe. You don't have to follow none of the laws. Understand those 10 commandments are just some of the laws that you're not supposed to do. Right? You're supposed to follow the 10 commandments are some of the laws. Let me correct this. The 10 commandments are the laws you're supposed to follow. It says thou should not kill. You ain't supposed to kill nobody. Right? It says thou should not commit adultery. You're not supposed to mess around with another man's wife. Right? Understand this. You're not supposed to do that. It says a woman is not supposed to be married and entertaining some other dude, letting some other dude up in her bed or climbing his bed or his back seat or on the hood of his car or whatever. She's not supposed to give herself to another man if she got a man. She got a husband, right? And then you have to understand that some of these women, because, you know, you got to explain to them, because if you tell them they got a husband, they say, we ain't married. You giving them all your body, your box, your whatever. I'm going to try not to get too, you know, I might have children watching, so I ain't going to get too indignant. You're giving them everything, right? You're giving them everything. You know what I mean by everything, Shagawan.
Okay.
You're giving them everything, right? But yet and still, they not married because they don't have a contract between the man, the woman, and the government, right? We understand in the UPK, the contract is not between you, that person, and the government. It's between you, that person, and the Most High God. That's where the contract at. And the contract is signed when you sleep together, when you lay down together. That's when you sign that contract, right? That's when you put your signature on the box. That's how you become married, and you sign the paperwork. The paperwork is in the box. So, brother, when you get the box, you're married. Sister, when you give that box up, you're married. Right? This is how, right? And your Christian pastor is telling you that, hey, you ain't got no paperwork. You ain't married to that man. So guess what he's doing? He's taking away the authority of the Most High God. He's trying to take away what God has told you to do. So with him taking away from that, guess what? According to this scripture right here, it says, if you take away, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be taken out of the book of life.
If I may, Abawan,
please.
If I could piggyback off this point,
go ahead.
Could you pull up a verse for me in Ecclesiasticus 12 and 17?
Now you about to make me go in my book bag.
Because he didn't, and I was having this conversation with somebody on Saturday. We were getting into the Bible a little bit, and what, he kind of looked shocked at something I said, and he's like, "Oh, you mean in the Old Testament?" And I was like, "What's the difference?" You know what I mean? But
Ecclesiasticus what?
12 and 17.
12 and 17.
Because this devil, this oppressor that's over us, he didn't just remove the Apocrypha. He gave us things like the slave Bible. He wanted to remove the entire book and give us like 5 or 6 verses.
And if real quick, not only did he give you the slave Bible, so he took away, but he gave you the book of Thomas, the book of Mary. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the the Catholic Bible, the Catholic Bible is supposed to be this King James version of the Bible, but it's 100 and some books in there.
Okay.
So they add 2. The Catholic Church added 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I got that scripture. You ready?
Yep, go ahead.
You said chapter 11 or chapter 12?
Chapter 12, verse 17.
So Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 17. If adversity comes upon thee, thou shalt find him there first.
God, it like when it comes to all the books that these devils removed out of this book, you brought out a heavy point to speak on these pastors. They want to tell us that the laws are done away with, but we should keep ties. They want to add and take away and do all these different things. But imagine being a brother in the hood where at a young age, you see this opportunity to make money off your people from using the Bible. And it's like you've been poor your whole damn life and you see an opportunity to make millions.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see rappers out here, talking about unaliving each other, selling drugs and this and that to our people. You see these women out here who are being whores to make money in the music industry. You got to understand that this devil that's over us, he's giving us this platform and this opportunity to get out the hood. And I'm not saying that it's right, but what I'm saying is you will find him there first. Just like this verse says right here. All the oppression and all the adversity that we go through here in America, it's all because the white man, the oppressor, Salakia, is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
Like we were sold to our enemies. You want to know why they removed all these books? Because you see rebellions like Nat Turner.
Mm-hmm.
You see our people rise up when they read this book and how it liberates us and empowers us to want to be free and fight for our own people. But when you take parts out of the book, you can help control the people. This is done from our enemy, right on point to what the topic is. Like, we were sold to our enemies. These people that are here, they do not love us. They're not our friends. They hate us. And anything they can do to further our destruction, they're going to do it. And it's right here in the Bible. It tells you anything that goes on, you will find him there first. You're fighting with your wife at home. It's because the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Damn right.
Any problems on earth, it's because your oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. And you grow up in his society, and you listen to him on how you should live and how you should act, and how you should carry out your marriage and this and that, you're going to have problems in your life. So, Lucky, go ahead.
Real quick, if I just seen Barack Yala pop up. If he want to come into the class, we could send him the link. I know he got something to say.
Oh, Barack, man, let me see what Barack says. Go ahead, you got it.
Yeah, let me finish that scripture.
No, that's it. That's all I needed on that.
Okay, cool. So, like I was saying, is that and to piggyback off of what you were saying, right? We were sold unto our enemies. Our enemies are the ones, right? And we have our people that are working alongside of our enemies. Like in the movie Django, you see Steven played by Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson he wasn't trying to escape slavery. He wasn't trying to escape slavery. Now, Django and all the other slaves, even remember did you see the movie Django? I know you said you was gonna watch it.
I got about halfway through.
Man, I can't.
I seen it a long time ago. I just got to refresh myself on it.
Well, it was. I'm gonna have to spoil it for you. You know that, right?
No,
I'm gonna have to spoil it for you. So, at the end of the movie, when Django came back for vengeance, right? At the end of the movie, when Django came back for vengeance, it was two sisters that was in the room. And he told them sisters, now these sisters one of them was over the kitchen. So she was how can you say it? She was well kept as a slave, right? She was over the kitchen. The other one was the master of the house, his little boo thing, right? So she was well kept. But look, at the end of the movie, even they escaped. Even though Django assisted them with their escape, even when it was time for them to get out of the big house, they ran up out of slavery, right? And these were well kept. These were the favorites, right? These are two of the favorites of the slaves. Samuel Jackson, he didn't want to escape. He wanted to be. He thought he was just as big as master. And those are the type of individuals that we have today, Israel, that are working alongside of our enemies. We have some, what's his name in there? What was his name in the movie? What was Samuel Jackson's name in the movie? Stephen. We got some Stevens. We got some Stevens in the land of Israel. And these Stevens, right? These Stevens are funded by your oppressor, right? And these Stevens are funded by your oppressor. With these Stevens being funded by your oppressor, who is funded by the ISUPK is not funded by your oppressor, right? The ISUPK is not funded by your oppressor. Now, you have some of these Christian churches out here that get big money from your oppressor. Get big money from your oppressor. We're in the city of Detroit. With being in the city of Detroit, you have individuals that have run for presidency of the United States, and they have walked into churches that are right in the city of Detroit, right in the hood, right where Ray Ray was unalived at 3-4 weeks ago, right? And you think that your oppressor is afraid of you. He's not. He's only afraid of you when it benefits him. Your enemy is only afraid of you when it benefits them. And let me prove it to you. when they can look what happened to let's see. You got Tamir Rice, right? The enemy was only afraid of Tamir Rice when it benefited that, okay, I'm afraid of this guy. I have to unalive him because he could unalive me. When Tamir Rice was being a 12-year-old kid playing in the park, and one of these oppressors rolled up on him in a police car, right? In a police car. In this police car, his job, this police officer's job was to serve and protect Tamir Rice. You remember the story of Tamir Rice, sir, out of Chicago?
Was that the brother who was wearing the hood while he was taking a walk or taking a run or something?
No, that was the little 12, 13-year-old boy playing in the park. And the police rolled up on him and unalived him within under 2 seconds of pulling up, right? So what it was is he had like a toy gun, right? So he in the park. There's no one around him. He in the park playing, cops and robbers by himself, I guess, right? There's no one around him. The police pull up onto the grass. The oppressor hops out of the police car and fires and unalives this little 12, 13-year-old boy playing in the park. That's playing while black. Right. You know why? Because you were sold unto your enemies. If you were not sold unto your enemies, your enemy couldn't do that to you. He couldn't roll up on you and unalive you. Let me show you how I can prove it. What was the it was a young lady in Dearborn, and this young lady in Dearborn, she was Ishmaelite, right? What happened was somebody had unalived her and went into her house and stole some goods out of her house, right? They had a young Judite locked up in a matter of days, right? For this crime. They had him locked up in a matter of days. He was locked up for a long time. Come to find out that, yes, the young lady was unalive, but the young Judite, being, unlearned, he see the situation where the house open. So, he doing a B&E. He walked into the house taking things, and he got caught with those things that was removed from that house. And they try to charge him with the murder of the young lady, the young Ishmaelite lady. God. They tried to charge him with the murder. And it's like, I wish I could find a story. I'll pull it up for you. But Israel, so that we don't get off our topics, right? The topic is you were sold unto your enemy. And with being sold to your enemy, certain things happen to you, right? Certain things will happen to you. Certain things are going to happen to you. Hey, go ahead. Hold on, sir. I got somebody at the door. Go ahead.
Yep, no sweat. I'm gonna while Abu gets I'm gonna play the video real quick of Tamir Rice. Oh, it's a lock here. That's the wrong one. So this is the video of what happened to that young brother Tamir Rice. You can see it, as Abawan was saying, those cops pulled up to that park and it was shoot first, ask questions later. Like Abawan said, that's just being in the park while black. And that, there are so many videos that are like this. You understand? Every single video I've seen like this is it's so heartbreaking. You understand? And it really takes a person, you know, with some kind of compassion and love for their people, you know, to not just, you know, let this memory, you know, just kind of be in vain. You know, I remember being out, we were out in Toronto when George Floyd was unalived. And I remember thinking, you know, we're watching all these thousands of people protest, Black Lives Matter, no justice, no peace. And I remember looking at my Ottawa Zabadia down in Toronto saying, you know, I wonder how fast they're going to forget about him. You know what I mean? Because I know in the ISU UPK, we won't. We're here. How many years later after George Floyd was unalive, we're still talking about George Floyd. We're still talking about Tamir Rice. You know, we're still talking about Breonna Taylor. You know, we're still talking. I've been talking about Melissa Moore. You know, Eldon Calgary. I do not let these names go. You know what I mean? These are the things that I'll never forget. They want to talk about never forget 9/11. Bullshit. I remember what happened to my people.
Sandra Bland, Fernando Castillo. You know, it's thousands of names, man. Thousands upon thousands of names where these things have happened. I mean, if I may share a personal story, sir, is that my father, he lives in Columbus, Ohio. You know, every now and then you hear about me riding down to Columbus to go visit him. And it was a time where the Columbus police had my father was walking down the street. Yeah, he had a little bit too much to drink, right? But as he's walking to the street, going to his house, they jump out to stop him. And, you know, he's like, look, my house right here, I'm about to go in the house. And they basically beat the hell out of my father right there in front of his house. Put him in the hospital. He was in the hospital for like a week, right? Got out the hospital still hurt, sore, and broken up because of the police had beat the hell out of him. Because they beat the hell out of him and arrest you, right? They arrest you for he was charged with public drunkenness, resisting arrest. Whenever the police start to kick your ass, you automatically get a resisting arrest charge because you're trying to block. You're not supposed to block. You're supposed to allow them to crack you in your damn head. You're not supposed to block it all. You're supposed to just take this billy club across the top of your damn head, right? If you don't, it's resisting arrest, right? So these police issues are personal to individuals in my family because that's what happened to my father, right? So and the thing about it is you're standing outside watching this go down as a young man, a young kid, and you're helpless. You can do nothing. You yell at them to stop. But when there's 7, 8 police officers doing the same thing to him that they did to what was the brother who said, can we all just get along? Rodney King. Think about this. Rodney, how long ago was Rodney King? 84, 85? You remember Rodney King? They beat the hell out of him right here in Malice Green. Look, Rodney King, Malice Green. These were individuals that got the crap beat out of them by police officers, right? And then it's like, oh, we're going to drop the charges. Or you get charged with resisting arrest. Resisting arrest is a secondary charge, right? I have to have a reason to arrest you, right? Just say you committed a crime. Now you committed a crime. Now I can arrest you. With me being able to now arrest you because you committed a crime, if you resist that arrest, right? If you flee from me or fight or anything like that, then you can be charged with resisting arrest. How, you know, and how can you charge somebody with resisting arrest and that's the only charge? I'm gonna tell you how. Because you were sold to your enemies.
That's right.
Because you were sold to your enemies. If you were not sold unto your enemies, then those things wouldn't happen to you. Your enemy is your enemy has overtaken you because you chose Israel. Our enemy has overtaken us because we chose not to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. We chose not to follow the God of the Bible. We chose not to follow the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? I got an article I want to bring out, sir.
God, let's get it.
Right. And this article is just another thing that has happened to our people because We chose not to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. We chose not to follow our power, right? So this article is called 5 Black American Towns Hidden Under Lakes and Ultimately from History Books. Let me see if I can get the that's what the name of this article is, right? And it's written by it's on Travel New York, right? So it starts off, it says, shout out to Amber Ruffin. Right now, Amber Ruffin is a young lady who was in the video, and she's the one that brought us all these different subjects out. So I'm not going to play the video. What I'm just going to do is just read what was going on and what it was changed to, you know. So number 1 on the list, it says, here are 5 you should know about. Here are 5 cities that you should know about. Here are 5 cities, you know, and my folk out there in the comment land that's out here watching, if you heard of any one of these cities, right? Because I'm gonna bring out what it was called. Oh, you don't pull it up already, right? I'm gonna bring out what it was called and what it changed to. You know, Oscarville, Georgia is number 1 on the list, right? Oscarville, Georgia, now known as Lake Lanier, is a popular weekend destination known for fishing, boating, and so much more, including an eerie reputation that has deemed it as haunted in Georgia, right? But one lesser known fact is that the lake on top of the black town Oscarville, understand it's your people, your oppressor put a lake on top of your people, right? And the reason why we bring this out, because we've heard of our people being, what was that, Hurricane Katrina? Hurricane Katrina hit,
right?
And it was like, if you talk to the people after the hurricane hit, everybody was good. Then 2 days later, the city flooded because the dams broke, right? And put them up underwater. So our oppressor has the technology, right? Has the technology and has the motivation to put you up underwater, right? Says Oscarville was burnt down in 1912, and more than 1,000 residents were forced to flee following allegations of rape. Look at here, Black America, Native Americans, Black folk, Hispanic folk, right? All around the world, not just in America, but all around the world. Your oppressor does this repeatedly, right? Understand, Tulsa, Oklahoma didn't get buried underwater. But what was said? It was an allegation of a young Black man trying to sexually assault, the attempted sexual assault of a young white woman, right? Look at Roseville. It was the allegation of a young Black man sexually assaulting a white woman. That's the narrative. Look at Emmett Till. Emmett Till was allegedly what they call a catcalled a white woman, right? He catcalled her. You know what catcall is? Catcall when you're like, how you do the whistle?
Yeah, something like that.
You know, I just spit game. I ain't good at catcalling. You know what I'm saying? You know, I let my game do the talking and my feet do the walking. But catcalled her, right? So he showed, these men allegedly show sexual interest into your oppressor's daughters, right? When the Bible already said don't make marriages with them, right? And think about this. The Bible says don't make marriages with them. You made marriages with them, and what did the Lord do? Flood the earth. He flooded the earth. Now, because look what your oppressor, your oppressor already wants to be God. That's why he tried to put his nest up above God, right? So he already wants your oppressor already wants to be God, which your oppressor already wanting to be God, right? And the Most High God told you not to make marriages with these other nations. And because you made marriages with these other nations, he flooded the earth. And your oppressor, to prove that your oppressor want to be God, It says Oscarville was burnt down in 1912, and more than 1,000 residents were forced to flee following a accusation of rape. Right, so somebody tried to force a marriage upon someone else.
Right,
and they flooded the city. Rob Edwards was arrested in September 1912, along with Ernest Knox and Oscar Daniels, both teenagers, all accused of raping and murdering a young white woman named May Crow. Right, Edwards was dragged out of jail, beaten with a crowbar, and then lynched from a telephone pole. Daniel and Knox went to trial and were found guilty on the same day. What is that? You have the right to a speedy trial. What is that? They sped your black man, Native American man, Hispanic man. Your oppressor will speed your trial the fuck up real quick. Because they want to be judge, jury, and executioner. They don't understand when you go to court for any accusation and you see 12 of your enemies accusing you, right? Well, matter of fact, you got one enemy accusing you. That's a prosecuting attorney. Right, you got 12 of his lackeys sitting in the jury, right? Those are the judges. You got the judge sitting up front, another enemy, right? Understand, these are not of your nation. These are individuals you were sold unto. And what you're being sold unto these individuals, look at the judge, right? Look at the jury, look at the prosecuting attorney, right? Look at the sheriff that they had. What do they call the sheriffs that are sitting there to protect the judge from getting her ass whooped, or his ass whooped? Bailiff. The bailiff. Ain't none of these people black, Native American, Hispanic in this courtroom. You are going to be judged by this jury and executed, because they're going to give you one of the swiftest trials you've ever had. Right? It says, after the trial and executions, white men known as night riders forced black families out of their homes by bringing their land, churches, and schools.
It means burning.
Oh, no, I messed that up. That must have been burning.
Yeah, they had a typo.
That's a typo. That has to be burning, because I'm like, by bringing it. No, they can't bring it to them. So by burning their land, churches, I understand, after the accused were already executed, your enemy was not happy with the accused being executed. Your enemy was not happy with the accused going to jail. And I can prove this. It's been many a times where young men, young black men, young Native American men, young Hispanic men were accused of a crime, right? And against one of your enemies. Right, they were accused of a crime against one of your enemies, and your enemy did not care what happened to him. They just wanted him to have the death penalty, right? And guess what? If after they executed this brother, because black, Native American, Hispanic, y'all my brothers. After they executed one of our brothers, guess what they did? And found out that he was innocent. They execute one of these brothers and find out he was innocent. They don't care. Right? They're not even looking for the criminal that did the crime. They just want to unalive one of us. That's it. We brought out the other week, when we brought out part one of this, we was George Stinney, the young 14-year-old boy. He was the youngest boy, the youngest person ever to be placed in the electric chair in the United States. Yeah. He was accused of unaliving 2 little lily white girls. He was accused. And then he was accused of it, right? He was swiftly went to trial and executed. Come to find out, they had no evidence that says that he was attached to that crime. The only thing they had that say that he was attached to the young ladies is that he seen them looking for a certain flower earlier that day, And he told the girls that type of flower is not around here. So they unalived him for helping two white girls. You ever see the movie The Green Mile? Man, I'm gonna need you to catch up on your movies, man. You're making me look bad. You're making me look bad. People gonna think all I do is watch movies all day. Like he ain't in class, he watching movies. No, I'm looking for a job too. No. But look, it says after the trial and execution, white men known as night riders. Hey, sir, if you don't mind, we know who those night riders were.
Yeah, kind of.
They ain't called night riders no more. They got long white hoods, sometimes long black hoods. They got hoods. Their faces covered up, right? And the reason why their faces covered up because they're your judge, your jury, your prosecuting attorneys, your defense attorneys, right? You got the devil as your defense attorney. Mm-hmm. The devil is not going to defend you, black man, Native American man, Hispanic man. You think about how many brothers have pleaded down. I got a brother now, right? This is my biological brother. He pleaded down to a crime, right, that he didn't do just so he could get less jail time. Because if he'd have went to trial, they're gonna lock his ass up for something he didn't do. So his court-appointed attorney is like, hey man, just plead down. And if you plead it, you're gonna get less time. They're gonna give you time served.
Huh.
So think about this: a brother want to get out of jail, right? So now I'm trying to convince him because the ISUPK Detroit has an expungement program. With that expungement program, these crimes that you have been accused of, we may be able to help you get that off your record. If you want more information about the expungement program, be at the school 12355 Gratiot Avenue, Detroit, Michigan. Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Somebody will be there to help you. Right? Let's continue. I had to plug the expungement program. I think that's one of the programs that help a lot of brothers get these false bearings off their back. Right? We got a brother that was we got a few brothers in the school that have a concealed pistol license. And it was one brother was trying to get his concealed pistol license and they kept knocking him. He put that information in, did the expungement program. As soon as his paperwork went through and everything was good, got his concealed pistol license. So the program works. Right here at 12355 Gratiot Avenue, expungement program. Come check it out, folks. It says, once black families fled, Lake Lanier was built on top of what was burnt down. Number 2. Wow. Enunciate that. Can y'all see that, Israel?
What's that? Coaliga?
Coaliga, right? I guess Benson, Alabama.
Yep.
Turned out Alabama's Lake Martin is built on the previous majority black town of Coaliga. It almost sounds like a co-op nigga. Coaliga. It is home to the first black-owned railroad started by W.E. Benson and the Black School Coaliga Academy and Industrial Institute. Right? So, sorry, Juan, sir, if I may, could I ask you a question? Can you hear me, sir? It looked like he might have froze. Sorry, Juan, you there? All right, look. So my question is this, black folk, Native American folk, Hispanic folk, children of Israel, them folk, that's who I'm talking to. My question is this. When have you heard of not only a black-owned railroad, but the first black-owned railroad? Understand is that your enemy is here to cover up your well-to-dos. Your enemy is here to cover up these things that put you on the map, that make you shine. He don't want you to be the first to do nothing. He don't want you to have the first nothing. Think about this. Your enemy is here to use you as a stepping stone. If he can't stand on your back and take something off the top shelf, he has no use for you. If he can't stand on your back and move up, your enemy has no use for you. And if he has no use for you, it's a good possibility that he's going to unalive you, right? Because you're only good as long as you're benefiting your enemy. Think about this, black man, Native American man, Hispanic man. Do you think that you would be in this country right now if your enemy had a use for you? It did not have a use for you, right? You wouldn't be in the schools. You wouldn't be in the Senate, the legislature office. You wouldn't be in these plants. You wouldn't be, you wouldn't be at a damn fast food restaurant if your enemy didn't need you. Because the thing about it is the things that your enemy does not need, he unalives. Case in point, buffaloes. And the reason why I bring up buffaloes, because what? Your enemy unalived millions of buffaloes because he wanted to do what? Starve out the Native American. Wanted to start out the Native American, push them from one land to another land and get them off the property that they wanted, right? So what he did was, I'm gonna go ahead and I can kill up there. I can kill up all the food, right? With unaliving all the buffalo. All right, think about this. Native American use, not only did they use it for clothing, food, they use it for housing. They use it for multiple, it was a vast majority of things that the Native Americans used the buffalo for. And your enemy found a way, okay, cool. If I can remove this buffalo from this land, I can starve these people out. If I can remove this buffalo from this land, I can freeze these people out. If I can remove this buffalo from this land, I can do this and get these people out. Because the plan was only to get the Native American, right, the indigenous people to move from the area that the enemy wanted, right? Let's continue. It says, William is the son of John Benson, who was enslaved and then freed. He went on a journey to rescue his sister in Florida and was separated during slavery. And they made their way back to Alabama. John purchased thousands of acres of land sold to black families, where he formed a community. William helped his dad expand the family business. After William's death and the closing of the school, Kawaliga was destroyed to make room for Lake Martin, right? Lake Martin. Number 3 is one that we've brought up before. And with bringing it up before, we're going to, just touch on it one more time, because you have to understand is that, like we were saying, you being sold into your enemy Israel, right? These are the things that they did. They destroy your communities and do what? Make a lake. They destroyed your community, make a freeway. They destroyed your community, right? We got a second bridge to Canada right here in Delray, Michigan, right out on the backside of Detroit, right? Eminent domain came in and took those people property and land, right? Yo folk, because it wasn't no enemy. They wasn't staying down there. This is where we was living at, right? They went to our people and eminent domain their land. And guess what they happened after that? They put a goddamn bridge to Canada there, right? They need a secondary bridge to Canada. You got a bridge, you got a tunnel. They needed a second bridge, right? And what they did was they got your black ass up out of there so that they could do what? Put a bridge to Canada to make more money. because you being there wasn't making them enough money. Number 3, Seneca Village in New York City. Sherry, want you back?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, sir. If you want to step in, go ahead and jump in, please. Seneca Village began in 1825, and it peaked, spanned from 82nd Street to 89th Street along what is now the western edge of Central Park in New York City. Right. So understand that they kicked Black, Native American, Hispanic. They removed the children of Israel from this land. Right. They removed the children of Israel from this land to make the western edge of a damn park. Right. And what's so diabolical about this park is the Central Park 5. You remember the Central Park 5, sir?
A lot. I haven't heard of that.
Ooh, I got a good one for you. Search out the Central Park 5. The Central Park 5 was where 5 young brothers was accused of sexually assaulting an oppressor's daughter, right? Even though DNA and evidence didn't match up, they locked these brothers up. Later on down the road, a guy came out and said that he was the one that did it, right? And these other brothers didn't do it. So they accused 5 guys of doing something that one person did. So, when DNA tests came out and stuff like that, it was found out that the one guy who said he did it was the actual person that committed this crime. So they had to release the Central Park 5. The heavy thing about the most important thing about the Central Park 5 is you're president of the United States. Well, you live in Windsor right now, so you don't have a president of the United States. But when you come to visit, the president of the United States, Donald Trump, put on a full page article of why these brothers should be locked up forever. Right. And so these brothers now have a lawsuit against Donald Trump. But American government law won't allow you to sue a acting president. You can't sue the president. So, right now, their court case is just in being held up. So
I heard this. I didn't know it was titled the Central Park 5.
Yep, it's called the Central Park 5. Right. And so let's continue with the article. By the 1840s, half of the African Americans who lived their own property, a rate 5 times higher than the average, 5 times higher than the city average, as reported in Timeline. In 1857, Seneca Village was torn down for the construction of Central Park. The only thing that remains is a commemorative plaque dedicated in 2001 to the Lost Village.
If I may,
please.
That all these stories, they're so consistent. You know what I mean? Like they always have the same stories surrounding them. You know what I mean? A community of Blacks who own their properties. A community of Blacks who they have most of the real estate within their town or community. And as they're left alone there, they start to flourish. We stick together, we build our own communities, we look out for each other. So and so sees somebody's nephew walking down the street. And as a child, you feel safe in that community. You know what I mean? You're walking home from school, you get to your little town, and the whole neighborhood knows you because this is so and so from down the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's a safe place for our people. And as we start to establish ourselves and just be left alone a little bit, we start to get our own little piece of heaven. You know what I mean? There's a brother in a place called Africville in Canada. He called Africville a little slice of heaven. And what did these oppressors do? They come in and destroy it. And it's the same story. What do you think's in Africville right now? A damn park and a railroad station running through it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. Seneca Village, you know what I mean? All these different towns you're going through right now. It's such a consistent thing. And it's such a, what's the word? Like they throw it in your face, damn near, how much they don't give a damn about us. You know what I mean? Not only do they throw it in our face, but they have such a pride to themselves of, what are you going to do about it?
It's more of, look what we did to you.
God.
The oppressor is not just a sore loser. He's a sore winner. Right? If you look at the Confederacy, you got these cats still carrying around this Confederate flag. Y'all lost. Take your loss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Take your loss.
Right.
Right? But at the same time, is not only are black people being put under subjection of these individuals that carry this Confederate flag, which is the South that lost. They being put under subjection of the people that carry the American flag, which is the North, that won. Right? And you got to understand is that where that stems from is that Abraham said he didn't give a damn about freeing the slaves. He said all he wanted to do was unite the North and the South.
That's it.
He said if he could unite the North and the South without freeing the slaves, you'll be still getting your back beat here in America, because America wasn't freeing those slaves. If you look, America was one of the last countries to free slaves across the world. Right, one of the last ones. And if it wasn't for the things that happened during the Civil War, who's to say that you would not still be in that type of slavery? Not saying that slavery has been removed from America. All they did was change the narrative.
Right.
They really didn't change the narrative. They changed how it looked. They put a mask on slavery. Right? They put a mask on it, right? You're the same person. Think about this. When you go to a masquerade ball, right? You still priest and prophet Shariwan, right? You still that person. You just got the mask on, and you're not being able. No one can recognize who you are. Well, the people that are close to you can recognize, but majority of individuals that don't know you too well can't recognize you, and the reason why they can't recognize you is because you got the mask on. And that's what's going on with our people now, is that since we are unfamiliar with the tactics of our oppressor, when they put this mask on, right, we don't know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, who is that? Or what is he doing? Oh, the nigga doing the same shit. He just got on the mask. He doing the same thing. He just got on the mask, right? Think of what's the things they call them now? The shiesty masks. The young kids is wearing the YNs. That's what Kazak call them, the YNs. Officer 5,000 Kazak, and I quote, the YNs is wearing the shiesty mask, right? And with them wearing the shiesty mask, unless you are, think about this, you can put on the mask, sorry, Juan, and your wife know that it's you. Right, your brothers is around you. Know that it's you. Oh, that's Officer Shot One, 500 out of Windsor, out of Detroit. They know it's you. But a brother out of the Cali camp or the Chicago camp might not know that it's you. Right, it won't really recognize that is you because you got on the mask. Right, so imagine somebody in the world, some random guy in Oklahoma, in Texas, some random person in Florida. They won't know it's you at all. And that's the same way that our people have to understand, is that we don't know the tactics of our enemies. So when they put mask over them, when they put the mask on, we up there like, oh, okay, it's not harmful. They put a mask on. Oh, nah, yeah, you know why? Because we had a masquerade ball. You in slavery, they just put a mask on it. When we had one mask called Jim Crow. We got another mask called redlining. You know what I'm saying? You got another mask called stop and frisk. Right? These are the same masks. These are the same things that's going on. It's just under a different mask. And you don't recognize it because you at the masquerade ball enjoying your damn self.
If I may, Art.
Please.
Really quick. This is Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 7. And it says, remember the days of old.
Yep.
Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Like what you bringing out so heavy, because you know our ancestors, you know, going back a couple hundred years ago, we didn't have to tell them who their enemy was. You know what I mean? Like the mask was off. You know what I mean? Our oppressors out there, you know, you can see our people in the cotton field. You know what I mean? You can see the oppressor buck breaking a man in front of 200 people. You know this is the devil.
Damn right.
And if we would listen to the wisdom of the Bible, you know, like the Most High says, the wisdom of this world is foolishness to God. If we would listen to what the Bible says, pick it up and read it and actually, you know, listen to it, you know, listen to the priests and prophets in the ISUPK, you know, you might want to have a conversation with your grandparents. You know, ask them what they remember growing up. You know what I mean? My grandfather, he was locked away because, you know, I think he kissed and hugged kissed his cousin on the cheek.
He was what? Say that again.
He kissed his cousin on the cheek. But the sister was what do they say, fair skin. You know, and so at this time, black man's not allowed to kiss a white woman, and they locked him up. My grandfather growing up, he couldn't stand white people. It's lucky. You know what I mean? And you know, you ask him some of the stories that he had growing up, he'll tell you why. You know what I mean? And so, you know, there's a time where they had the mask off. You know what I mean? Now they try to, you know, sugarcoat everything. They try to beat your back with a smile on their face. You know what I mean? But Salaki, that was it.
And you know, it's heavy what you're saying, because before I got into this truth fully, right? You know, if you know my story, I was one of them guys that was teeter-totter and double dutching and say, I'll be here a couple weeks, then I'm gone a couple weeks. After I got into the truth fully, right, and finally made my finally said to myself, I'm not leaving. Right. My grandmothers and grandfathers had already passed away. So I couldn't go to them and ask them about some of the things that I was learning here in this truth. Right. I couldn't ask them about some of the history of Detroit. Right. My mother and my uncles and my aunts have told me a little bit, but you know, they can't go back into some of the things that happened in the 20s and 30s like my grandparents could have. Right. You know, that my uncles and my mother, they only can go back to the, you know, at the earliest, maybe the 60s and the 70s. You understand? Or maybe the 60s and the 70s at the earliest. But there were things that I talked to a young lady, well, a very mature lady. She was 98 years old. This was about 2 years ago. Right. And I talked with her, and I was talking to her about some of the things that happened in Detroit. And she was able to tell me, like it was yesterday, about the riots in 68. She was able to tell me, because with her being 90 something years old, 98 years old. And this was probably more than 2 years ago. It was probably maybe about 5-6 years ago. With her being 98 years old, she was hearing stories of things that we could only look up. Like I looked up the Red Summer of 1919, right? She was telling me about it, right? I had to look up Tulsa, Oklahoma. I had to look up the Depression. She lived through it. She was able to tell me about the things that was happening, but she was a little kid. She was able to tell me about the things that happened and things they had to do, right? And that's how I found the story, because she was talking about how her parents during the Depression, her parents had a Cadillac. You know, Cadillac is prestige, and during the 30s, black folk really in the early 30s, black folk couldn't buy Cadillacs. You had to go have pay a white person to go buy the Cadillac for you. And what if there was a crook? You was out your money. If there was a crook, if they were a crook, if they were crooked, you lost your money. Right? So you had to really know this person well and write up a contract with this person. And then hope that the court of law upholds that contract that you wrote with that person, because they didn't uphold too many other contracts. They allowed their people to get out those contracts very easily. Right. Just like the Native Americans said that the Native Americans had, what was it, 14 treaties with the pale-faced man?
Salakia. I think it's like 185 treaties.
They had 185 treaties.
Broke every single one.
And they broke and this is what the Native Americans said. The Native Americans said the pale-faced man broke every treaty. Fork tongue, called him fork tongue. He will say one thing and do another, right? This because you were sold unto your enemies, black man, Native American man, Hispanic man. You can't make a deal with your enemy and expect him to hold it up in the court of law when he runs the court of law, right? You can't make a deal with your enemy when he in music. Look at the music business. You can't make a deal. These brothers and sisters are signing contracts with their enemy and expect their enemy to hold up their end of the bargain. And then when they go to sue, when they go to do this, when they go to do that, you know, it's rumored that something bad happened to the brother or sister, right? In some cases, it's true. In other cases, I couldn't tell you. I just know that in some cases, it's true. Some cases, I can't tell you what happened. It's rumored. There's no fact behind it. But, you know, if you got a brother or sister that's doing some illegal stuff and they want to go against the suppressor, that illegal stuff is going to eventually come out. The oppressor is going to allow you, because the oppressor is illegal. He's going to allow you to do just enough illegal stuff so that when it's time for you to so-called gain justice, I can bring this out about you. But let's jump to number 4, ladies and gentlemen. Susanna, Alabama. Susanna, Alabama, or Susana, was also flooded by Lake Martin. According to Alabama Living, more than 900 bodies were moved from cemeteries before the land was submerged. The town once included a gold mine, a school, 2 mercantile. I gotta look that up. I don't know what that is. A grist mill, a flour mill, a sawmill, a blacksmith shop, and a church. So you gotta understand this town was making money in that time, right? It has 3 different mills and a blacksmith shop and a church. So the town was making money. So it wasn't flooded. It wasn't destroyed because it was poor. It was only taken over because your people own property in that area. Black, Native Americans, and Hispanics own property in that area. And since they own property in that area, this land was, hey, look, we might as well go get this land. Right? You don't see these things happen in neighborhoods filled with oppressors. Right? You don't see eminent domain happen in those. You know why you don't see eminent domain, or you don't see these what you call it, a lake pop up in their neighborhood. You don't see a forest. That's what I call Central Park, a forest, pop up in their neighborhoods, because they're not going to do that to their people. They're not going to do that to themselves. They're going to do it to you, black man, Native American man, Hispanic man, because you were sold to them. Right? Understand this is that your oppressor is more concerned about dogs and cats, right, and animals than they're concerned about the life of a young black male or a young black female, a young Hispanic male, a young Hispanic female, a young indigenous male or female. They're more concerned about the life of a damn dog, right? To prove it, would you like for me to prove it?
If I
may. You want me to prove it? We can prove it.
If I may,
they lock Mike Vick ass up. Right? They like, look, it was I was watching Hoarders, and there was a lady on Hoarders. She had a bunch of cats, right? She had a bunch of cats, and I don't know, I'm talking about like 100 cats in her house, and then she probably had about 20 dead ones, right? Understand this: they was trying to lock her up forever for having these dead cats, and the problem was she was just too old and couldn't feed these cats, couldn't take care of all the cats, couldn't get the dead ones out the house, right? And the law had went after her, right? So with the law going after her, why did the law go after her? Because she had some deceased animals in her house. Now you see brothers hanging from familiar trees. You see that, what she say, strange fruit hanging from familiar trees. You see these brothers and sisters hanging from trees, and the thing about it is, the first thing that the law enforcement would say to you, without even investigating, oh, it was suicide, right? If you who was that? Malcolm X. If you remember the story of Malcolm X's father, Malcolm X's father was said that he committed suicide, and how he committed suicide is he tied himself tightly to the railroad tracks. Shariwan, could I ask you a question, sir?
Sure.
How can you tie yourself tightly to some railroad tracks?
That's wild.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, they said he committed suicide as he tied himself to the railroad tracks.
Yeah, I'd like to see a video of that.
You look it up. Look it up.
Good night.
You know what? I have to check my facts before I bring these things out, right? You know why? Because one is that I can't embarrass a school. I can't embarrass a school, right? You know, can't embarrass a school. Two, you know, and secondarily, I don't want to be looked at as an idiot. Because when you don't fact check and somebody is able to, you know, I learned this from Officer LeBon and Captain Harariala and Captain Tazariak, is that when you deal with these other nations, make sure the information that you're going to bring out is 100% factual. If it's 99% factual, don't bring it out. Because if you bring it out and it's that 1% that they can get in and say, all right, this may not be true, they're going to stand on that point, and it's a possibility that it could explode in your face. It could explode in your face. So, you know, when I look up these things, you know, I read the book about the biography about Malcolm X, and understanding this is why Malcolm X was put into a foster home, because when his father died, his mother couldn't take care of him. So they put her, they basically put his mother in an insane asylum and put the children in foster care. Yeah, so I had to understand why did they put the children in foster care, because I knew about the mother, and I was like, where was the daddy at? So when I looked it up, when I started to research it, found out that the father had tied himself to some railroad tracks and committed suicide. But understand this, he had beef with what? Them 3 Ks. Right? Them 3 Ks, it was rumored that he had fired on them 3 Ks when they came to his house. But we got a 5th one, sir. You want to go over it?
Come, let's get it.
All right. The 5th one, Vanport, Oregon. Now, me, when I read this, I really didn't. I was like, damn, we got black people in Oregon. Like, and then I understood, yeah. Portland, Oregon. You got the what's the name of the basketball team in Portland?
Trailblazers.
Trailblazers. Like, we got a couple black people in Oregon. So in 1940, Vanport was the center of a booming shipyard industry because of World War II, and quickly became the 2nd largest city in the state. Right? Understand, it became the 2nd largest city in the state. Right? What's what is the largest city, in the province that you at? Is it Windsor?
No, Toronto.
Toronto.
Probably.
Okay, so Toronto, right? Oh crap. They're trying to kick me off my site.
I can read it for you. I got it up here. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I reloaded. I just had to reload it. So it says in 1940, Vanport was the center of a booming shipyard industry because of World War II, and quickly became the 2nd largest city in the state. But as World War II saw white males drafted to serve overseas, a labor shortage pulled in a great migration of blacks from the South, right? So it put in a great migration of blacks from the South. With soldiers being drafted overseas to fight in the war, Oregon saw a labor shortage. This resulted in a great migration of black Americans from the South. These new workers needed places to live, as the Albina neighborhood was the only place where black people could live legally. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
So the only place in Oregon was Albina, right? The Albina neighborhood where black people could live legally. So it's against the law, black man, Native American man, Hispanic man, for you to live in certain parts of America. Think about this, for you to live.
Okay.
Is that a death sentence? If it's against the law for you to live, is that a death sentence? We won't allow the oppressor to answer that, will we? Say these new workers needed places to live, as the Albina neighborhood was the only place where black people could live legally. It became too small for the growing population of black Americans, and Vanport was built as a temporary housing solution. At its peak, 40,000 residents, or 40%, were African American. That means it was Negro. You can't be African and American. Real. Well, let's see. I guess no. I was gonna say if you was born in America but your father was African, that's the only way you could be African American. You got dual citizenship, right? You Negroes ain't African American. Jesse Jackson coined that term in what, the 80s?
Okay.
Yeah, Jesse Jackson coined that term in the 80s. Jesse, you're stupid. Gonna say you African American. Yeah. Look, our gates are languished. Our gates are language. Jesse Jackson was supposed to be a gate. He was supposed to be a leader, and he coined us from African American. Man. But then in 18 in 1948, massive flooding erupted in the neighborhoods, and the city official didn't warn residents of the dangerous high water levels. Many didn't evacuate in time. What does that mean? If the water levels were dangerously high and many didn't evacuate in time, right? And understand this, city officials, why did the city officials not tell these black folks to leave? What does that sound like? That don't sound like Hurricane Katrina? Think about it. The city officials didn't tell these folk to leave the area, right? And since they didn't tell the people to leave the area, residents of the dangerous high water levels. Oh no, city officials didn't warn residents of the dangerously high water levels. Many didn't evacuate.
I got a question, number one.
Yes, sir.
Were the residents of Detroit warned about all that flooding that happened in Detroit?
Well, it was speculated that a water main broke, and it happened so fast that it wasn't time to warn the residents, right? So these residents were the government jumped in with their cape on to get to these young Hispanic brothers and sisters to help them get out of these houses that were affected by the flooding, and took their ass straight to ICE.
God. I was just curious, Lucky.
No, they weren't warned. But the thing about it is, what you do is a water main break in the middle of the winter. Now, in the city of Detroit, it's known to have certain water main breaks, during certain temperatures, but the Detroit water and sewage is supposed to be putting in infrastructures that help prevent those things, right? It just happened that Southwest Detroit wasn't upgraded in a timely fashion.
God.
At least that's what some of the officials are saying.
God, no sweat.
So it says the town was wiped out within a day. And that's what it sounds like in Southwest Detroit. 18,500 families were displaced, more than a third Black American. Today the area is known as Delta Park.
Oh, another park. So understand, if your oppressor, right? You sold to your enemy. Your enemies will do what? Will kick you out of your land by flooding you out, right? It will remove you from your land by flooding you out. You got something, sir? Damn. I got a small thing I wanted to share.
You got something you want to share?
Okay.
Oh, let's get to it. Don't let me hold all up all the time.
Let's see. Yeah, I brought it to the timestamp. This is I'm gonna just bring something quick that happened in Canada. To our Gada brothers.
I thought you was mirroring I'm looking at my tablet. I'm like, is he mirroring my tablet? How'd he do that?
Did you want to see that video? I wasn't sure the video you had there on that website.
Oh, you can, you go ahead and share it. But I was looking at I had found an NBC news article about the growing movement to save Black cemeteries. Why we gotta save Black cemeteries?
Oh, okay.
But that's we might have to wait to next class. Go ahead and do what you got to do, sir.
No sweat. Speaking on cemeteries, and you had brought up the memory of this when we were speaking on Black cemeteries.
Mm-hmm.
It was in that number 4 because there was a cemetery that was on, I guess, what they would call a native reserve land. And beside that cemetery was a golf course. And the Devils wanted to expand their golf course. So they had to they wanted to build into the cemetery.
Uh-huh.
That started a big fight in Canada over the land right claims. And this is what that town, I'm just play the small clip. This is what the town was doing to our brothers who were, fighting, saying, just leave our fucking cemeteries alone.
Yes.
I'm gonna play this real quick.
There's dying, the plants are dying, the animals are dying. We're not too far behind them as the Mohawk Nation.
A mob attacks a convoy of 75 cars with old people, children, and women from Ganawagi as they leave the reserve fearing an army assault.
We're throwing the hell out of bricks.
One passenger, an elderly man, later suffered a heart attack and died.
It's a big
This
ass.
is what they threw at my father. This is what hit him in the chest.
Her 77-year-old father was badly injured.
These devils, were so mad at our Gadite brothers and sisters that they just wanted their cemetery to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
This is 1990, and white Canadians are throwing stones through their windows, ended up killing somebody. And there's actually, how I found this was there's a recent documentary because, there were children in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the children who's now, I think maybe she's 22, 23, she has this memory, and you can see it in the video. She has this memory of police officers standing in front of the cars doing nothing to the people throwing stones at them. And she remember thinking at that age, I thought the police officers were supposed to protect us. And that was her memory of police growing up here in Canada, North and South Central America. These are our enemies. You know what I mean? And all this shit was over a cemetery or over trying to expand the golf course. You know what I mean? But that's all I wanted to show.
And what's so heavy about what you're saying is that we look at it as this is over, it's supposed to be, what's a cemetery? It's supposed to be sacred ground.
God.
So we looking at it as it's over, sacred ground. This is supposed to be untouched land because we have our dead buried here. And the oppressor's like, this over a golf course? Because that's what they want to do. They want to put a golf course there.
Yeah, they try to play golf.
They don't care about, they would just put the golf course on top of the dead bodies. They just don't want you the reason why they suggest moving them because they don't want you getting upset and coming to look, where a headstone is at, or for a headstone in the middle of the fourth hole. They don't want you interfering if what's one of their great golfers is about to hit a hole in one and you standing there in front of it blocking it because this is where your grandfather was buried.
Right.
They don't want your ass on the golf course. That's why there was a movie called Who's My Caddy? You see that movie?
No, it's like, yeah.
You're making me look bad. Look here. You know all the books. You got the list of the books that you got to read. ISUPK website.
Good.
Give you a list of movies.
Good, dude.
You gotta watch. These movies are going to correlate with class. But on this movie, they didn't want the brother to join. The brother was a rapper, but he was, he was professional, And with him being professional, he's also, a pretty good golf player. And he wanted to join this golf club or whatever they call them. What they call them? A golf club, and they wouldn't allow him to join. And they really tried to give him a bunch of runaround and say that he couldn't join because of his rap stature, this, that, and other thing, right? So the brother ended up buying a house that was off the golf course, and the people that owned the house had leased part of their land to the golf course so that the golf course could be full. So the brother bought the golf course right after the lease was up. So he threw he threw his typical Lil Wayne rap. He threw a Lil Wayne rap video on the golf course, and they come out there trying to push him off. When now it's his property.
Good.
So the oppressor don't want you interfering with him playing golf, right? And if you got the memorials of your dead in that area, he'll say, okay, we'll move the body somewhere else, right? When you're not supposed to move those bodies, but he'll say we'll move the body somewhere else. When really think about this: if they misplace live people that are alive, think about what this government does. This government takes people. ICE has taken people, children, women, and misplaced them. So if they misplace people that are alive, what are they going to do with people that are not alive? Right? What are they going to do with people that's not alive? It look like we got some comments in there, sir. Can you read them? I can barely see them. Hey, bro. This.
We got Jeremiah says, "Hey, bro, you from Canada?" Are they asking? Khan, I'm in Canada.
Yeah. My brother Shairan from Canada. I'm right here in Detroit City. He said, "I'm in." What's that?
That's New Brunswick.
Oh, see, you know that Canadian language. I don't know it. All right, brother. This is the Monday Night History class, brother. So, are you a brother? Is that a brother?
Yeah. Where's your father from, Jeremiah?
Well, is that he said, yeah. Oh, hey. Let me show you one. Do you believe him? I can't tell.
Come to class, man. Come to class. It's good to see you in class.
How far is that from you, sir?
New Brunswick's a little ways from me. It's on it's like the West Coast.
Oh, so it's like a couple hours?
I think shoot, I don't even know. I never been out there.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, what you got to understand, this is we teach Black, Native American, Hispanics who we are, according to this Bible. So, Mr. What's his name, Jeremiah? So we have this. This is the Monday Night History class. We have this class every Monday from 7 to 9 o'clock, and you will have your co-teachers, Mahadawan, Sharyawan, and myself, Ahabawan, teaching the Monday Night History class. And periodically, we'll have some special guests come in to attend and go over some things in the class. If you'd have been here last week, he said the beat what? If you'd have been here last week, we would we had Officer Laban, 5,000 Laban, and then we had Officer Masha. And it's really an honor to have those brothers in this class with us, because they could bring out things of history that that they've seen and lived that I had no clue about. Right? The majority of the things that I bring out in this history class, I have to study, I have to look up, I have to plan for. But when you got Officer Mashak in here, Mashak has seen some of these things himself. But it says, I think it was 1770.
Yeah, he said my ancestors came to North America with the Irish cavalry to Lord Moncton in Quebec. He said to beat Lord Moncton. That was in 1770.
You familiar with any of that information?
I am not.
Oh, that's going to be something we have to look up and refer to. So
yeah, we got two powerful brothers out in Montreal. He's actually closer to Quebec.
Okay.
Those would be some good classes to tune into. Of course, tune into our class too, Detroit, Canada, Montreal, Toronto. Definitely good classes you want to be in. But I don't know that history. I bet Brock Yalla probably has a history on point.
You said Brock. That's what I was trying to get him in here. I didn't know if he was teaching his class tonight. I'm trying to get him in here. We're gonna have to, have him in as a special guest one night. Tell him, whenever you talk to him, let him know, like, hey, we would appreciate it if you was, to bless us with your presence.
Okay. He's at the slave right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we try to get him in.
I understand that. That slave keeps a lot of our brothers from from being as attentive as they would like to be. Right. You say the history very well. Well, you got to get in one of these classes, bro. Get in one of these classes and sit down and chop it up. Get in here in all black. Once you get in here in all black, 90 days and you get your Hebrew name, and then take your officer's test sometime after that, and we'll put you right up here in front where you could teach that history. But in the ISUPK, you have to be vetted, and what part of that kind of you being vetted is that you got to get in here, you got to get here in all black. You got to get your Hebrew name. You got to pass that officer's test. Every brother that you see, sitting on this stage has taken that officer's test, right? And that officer's test is just a small level of the vetting that has to be done, because what you have to understand is that the Christian church, you don't have to take a test to become a teacher or a pastor or a deacon. You just got to know somebody that knows somebody, right? You have to come, you give enough money, or you know the pastor, and guess what? You the pastor right hand man, and now you the deacon, or you the pastor's son. So now you the assistant pastor, or you the pastor wife, and she the assistant. You ever see that? The pastor wife is the assistant pastor.
God. Shoot.
That means neither one of them has read the Bible. And they the pastor. So, sir, our times, our time goes so fast, Israel. Sir, would you like to take us out?
Yeah, last thing to the brother, he said Jeremiah is Hebrew. That means rise of Yahweh. Jeremiah in Hebrew is Yeremiah, or Yeremiah.
Yeremiah.
And so, we teach Hebrew, we teach history, we teach law, we teach brotherhood, we teach everything about the Bible. All right, so these classes you definitely want to come into. You know what I mean? Stay tuned, stay watching. Again, Thawada, again, to everybody tuned in today for another Monday Night History class. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, okay, so we can keep getting this information out. With that, I'm going to say shalom to the brothers, Yah Bashim Shabrak Thumb, and to the sisters, we say Yahweh Shamar, Alatha Bashim Yahushai. All right, I'm Priest and Officer 500 Shariwan, with me, the mighty priest, Officer Abawan. All right, Thawada again, shalom.
Shalom, Israel.